Stop being last in line for your money. Change is coming. I guarantee it. Do you want to be a wealth creator? Do you want to be a saver or a spender? What if there was a rule book for how money worked, and if you followed the rules, everything would be better financially? Then it gets better. Add a simple scaling framework with infinite banking as the machine to accelerate the process. How many of you have ever felt like no matter how much you earn, just never seems to stack up? Or maybe you're doing okay, but you're still not sure you're building real generational wealth. If that's you, then welcome. You're in the right place. And let me say this up front. Thanks for showing up, because people who show up for this conversation are the ones serious about change. They're the ones looking for change. They're the ones that want freedom. And by taking ownership of their financial future, you're about to get a framework and the laws and how to apply them. So here's what you're going to walk away with from today: a practical breakdown of the 7 laws of wealth, what they are and how to use them, how to build a rock solid financial foundation, no matter your age or your income, whether you're 20 or 70, and a fresh framework from Dr. Benjamin Hardy: your frame, your floor, your focus. It's going to align your money to your purpose. And then why this infinite banking is not too good to be true. It's not just a concept, but it's the engine to make all of this work in the real world. Now, I didn't grow up in a household where we talked about money much less learned anything about how money actually worked. But somewhere along the line, actually just only a few years ago, I realized the wealthy are playing by different rules. They just follow different laws. Actually, they follow the same laws. They're just applying them to their advantage. And when I started aligning my money with those laws and putting infinite banking as the engine, everything shifted, and it shifted pretty rapidly. I went from reactive, worried, stressed, to proactive, to feeling in control, to having a purpose. So today's purpose is simple, like Sipple. I want to show you how the practical, repeatable laws that create wealth and the vehicle to activate them. So we're going to walk through each of the 7 laws, but to show you the practical way to apply them mathematically, we're going to go through Dr. Benjamin's frame, floor, focus model and show you that having that frame, having your standards, and a focus eliminates all the noise. It makes it as simple as possible. And by the end of the session, you're going to have a clear game plan, one that removes the guesswork. And it starts by being honest with yourself. Once we're honest with ourselves and we weigh into where we actually are today, then progress is inevitable. So if that sounds good, let's dive in. So let's start with Dr. Benjamin's framework. We live in a world of busyness, of distraction, of all of these things coming in all the time. For example, today, Patty was talking about, oh, I'm doing this IT band stretch. And then she logs into her phone and there's all of this equipment that she could get for IT bands. Everything is trying to be built for us in that moment. And so when I saw Dr. Benjamin's frame, floor, and focus, 3 F's, frame is simple. It's your identity, who you are and who you're becoming. Put it in the chat. Who are you when it comes to money? What's your identity? Are you a creator? Are you wealthy? Pop it in the chat. Share with your peers. And then floor is your standards. If your standards are way down below my screen, guess what? You tolerate everything. But when you raise your standards, when you start understanding the minimum that you're going to accept in your life, that's when things start to shift. Because now anything below this new line that you set for yourself is unacceptable. And the focus is, imagine you're a captain of a ship Imagine you're going on a great voyage. Well, you vision where your target is and then you prepare for it. Your focus is where you're heading. So now you've got your frame. What is your identity? Who are you? Who do you see yourself in the future? Because that future self is going to be a magnet to where you're at today. And then you're going to raise and set your standards. You're going to look where you're at today and say, you know what? If it's below this floor, it's no longer acceptable. I will not focus on it. It's not helping me get to my big focus, my destination, your target of where you're heading. When you align these, staying on the path becomes so much easier. And you might be saying, Jason, that's too simple. A frame, a floor, a focus. Think about it. An identity, a standard, a discipline, and a destination. Now you're playing the game on purpose. You're no longer chasing money. You're setting your standards. You know where you're going and you know what's going to be low value or high value. So now we're going to dive into each of the 7 laws. I'm going to write on the whiteboard with you today, and we're going to bring this all together. We're going to tie it into infinite banking. We're going to show you how all of this works seamlessly together. Like I said, once you see this, you can't unsee it. So what is the first law of wealth? You guys have seen this before. Pop it in the chat. It's pay yourself what? Pay yourself first, right? It's stop being last in line for your money. That is another simple way to look at this. Stop being last in line for your money. You don't want to be the last one in line for your money. And if you are, if you have been, if that's something that's been normal for you, well, don't stress about it. It's not, you're not the only one who's last in line with your money. 95% of the people, nobody here, but 95% of the people I talk to have been last in line with their money. And you know why? Because there's one constant in life. When it comes to this law, let me pull up the laws for us. When it comes to the laws, there's one constant in life. Write it in the chat for me. What's the first law? Right? Or not the first law. What is the constant in life, no matter what? My podcast partner always gets this wrong, but it's okay, right? We're all learning. There's no perfect. It's imperfectly perfect. But the first thing that's always constant is change. It's an event. It's stuff that's going to happen. Well, guess what? If we start paying ourselves first, and what does that look like? No matter if you make, I use the example of 100,000 just because the math is easy. Right? Here's your $100,000 that you're earning. And you can break this down a number of ways. You can break it down where now you start doing it monthly. It's $833 a month that you start paying yourself, and you're paying yourself first, and you automate this. Next is going to be $27.40 per day. Now, whether you make 100,000, a million, 50,000, just add zeros or take zeros away, but the rule is the same. Take 10% off the top and automate it. So now, one question I had when I was going through this and designing this was, how are you getting paid? And you can write it in your notebook or you can pop it in the chat, but how are you getting paid and when are you getting paid? Are you getting paid weekly? Do you get paid monthly? Do you get paid bi-weekly? Do you get paid quarterly? Do you get big bonuses? Start thinking about how money is flowing. Because remember, money that's not in motion, what? Doesn't make money. Money is flowing to you. So how do you keep the money flowing? Is it just flowing back out to make someone else wealthy? Or do you stop? Do you put your oxygen mask on? And is it flowing to you first? So the first law, pay yourself 10%. There you go. Commissions, change first. So Michael Trayer, you got the change. So yes, commissions. So if you get commissions, you might have a big amount of money coming in. I just talked to a real estate investor earlier today. You're going to have a really big month, probably 100,000. But last month was a fraction of that. That's how it comes. So we have to look, how do we, when the money comes in, pay ourselves first? That's the first one. So if you can't save now when you're making a little, how do you think you're going to be when you're making millions? How many of you put an I in the chat if you see yourself as a millionaire? Is that part of your identity, part of your frame, if you will? Now let's look at the second law, right? I got a blank page here, but the second law is spending less than you make. Parkinson's law. This is where now that we have our savings, like say we have our 10% we've saved, we need to create a moat. A buffer around that 10%. This is going to be another 10%. So now when we're getting paid, you get paid $1,000, right? I'll change the color. You get paid $1,000. Now you're going to take 20%. So now you've got $200 that goes to you, to your system, to the Bank of Shane, the Bank of Alejandro, the Bank of Sipple, whatever your bank is called. Now you've taken 20% off, and you're doing this because you're protecting this. This money right here is the money that one day when you're sleeping, that money doesn't have to sleep. That money is going to go out and go to work for you. And so when you're saving that money, you have to protect it. This protection is from the air conditioners, the ACs that break. This protection is from the transmission, from the broken bone. Whoa. This is protecting your savings from change, from events. And if you don't have the events, great. The buffer will get bigger and bigger because you're stacking. Now you're living, go back. Now you're living off of 80%. This is Parkinson's law, right? This is Parkinson's law in effect. We have to make or spend less than we make. This middle ground right here is your 20%, leaving you this to live on. This is part of our standards. How are we going to work in our frame, in our house? We're going to set the standards because now we know that within 10 years, we're going to have stacked, if we're saving 20,000 a year, we're going to have stacked 200 grand. And now that money is going to go out and make us money. It's going to make us a couple $1,000s a month or maybe more, right? We're going to find ways to stack and to move the money. So what's law number 3? Post in the chat if you remember. Be interactive. Law number 3 is from Einstein. My fellow Jersey guy, always been Jersey proud, but Einstein had this 8th wonder of the world he talked about. And he talked about the power of compound interest. Well, really the power of uninterrupted compound interest. How many of you have had or have a high interest saving? If you do, pop in the chat, pop what your percentage is. Let's imagine that you've got a 3.5% high yield, right? High yield account. And you save the money. You stack it, you stack it, you stack it. You're like Sally Saver. You're really good at saving your money. You've been stacking your money and you're stacking your money and you're like, this is awesome. I'm getting 3.5% or 4% or 3.8%, 4.19%. That's awesome. That's a great place to store your money temporarily. But what happens? When you need the money, you're going to draw all of this down back to this line. This line is the 0 line. This line is Robert Kiyosaki's definition of the rat race. Right? Our savers go up. This is why they say Robert Kiyosaki wrote savers are losers. 1, because of inflation. 2, because you stack money, you need it, you go back to 0. If you take on debt, if you're a debtor, you go below this line and you work your way back up to the line. And so now, how do we not interrupt the compounding? Well, this is where IBC comes in. This is where now the 3rd law you have the infinite banking concept. You have specially engineered whole life, right? Specially engineered. This is for the third law. Where do we store and build our opportunity fund? Do you want to be a wealth creator? Do you want to be a saver or a spender? Right? Which of the three? If you had to pick A, I'm going to be a saver and I'm going to go back to zero. B, I'm going to be um, a borrower and I'm going to go below zero and work my way back to zero. I'm always going to pay interest to someone else, or I'm going to give up the opportunity to earn interest in A or B. Or do I want to be C, a wealth creator? Someone who now, when I'm saving the money and I'm stacking my opportunity fund, when I borrow, I never interrupt this compounding. The compounding keeps going up. This money keeps earning while I put money to work. Remember, we're giving $1 3 jobs when it comes to infinite banking. I'm not going to go deep into it today. I just want to show you practically why the infinite banking concept is the machine, is the engine that makes all of this work together. And so now we've only gone through 3 laws of wealth. Honestly, how many of you, well, I know all of you are practicing this, but those other people that didn't make it here today, they might not be practicing this. Do you think they should be learning about this? Law 1, pay yourself 10%. Law number 2, create a margin, a buffer around your money, right? Around the money that's going to go to work for you. Now you've got 20% and we're living off of 80. So you make 50 grand, now you're saving 10,000 a year. If you make 100 grand, now you're saving 20,000 a year and you got to store it somewhere. Where do you want to store it? Where it is protected, guaranteed, tax-free, right? So protected, guaranteed, tax-free, it's liquid, and it gives a death benefit while in a stable environment. I don't know why stable went to red, but it's in a stable environment. So now you have all of these bonuses on where you store the money rather than a high yield, which a high yield, if you're using infinite banking, it's a great place to store money before you have to go put the money to work or you're going to put the money in the policy. But let's move on. Let's go to the next law. The next law, you guys remember this one? Sharpen Your Saw from Stephen Covey. It means no matter where you are, you never arrive. That's Nelson, our Nelson, this book changed my life. This is number 4. This is how we can make ourselves more valuable in the marketplace. And we make ourselves more valuable by doing exactly that. We add value. How do we add value? It's through our knowledge, it's through our energy, it's through our effort, it's through helping other people get what they want. Like Zig Ziglar said, help enough people get what they want, and you'll get more than you could ever imagine. You'll get more than you could ever imagine because if we keep getting better, now, practically speaking, think about this. Like, let's say you're making 100,000, right? And there's a new project that's come, this new AI project at your company. And you're able to go be the leader and the one who's going to take it and help make the company more efficient. You're going to help increase the margin of the company by 20% because you're going to reach more people with the product your company makes. And all of a sudden they're like, wow, you know what? I'm going to give Carlos a 10% raise or Jason a 10% raise. I'm going to give him another 10K. So now you have 110,000, right? Because you've sharpened your saw. Now that you've made another 10,000, guess what happens? This is still 20%. So now you're saving $22,000 a year rather than 20. Do you see where this starts really compounding over time? You're compounding your skills, your discipline, your repetition. You're stacking the money in the opportunity fund for when that event will happen. It will happen at some point. change is coming. I guarantee it. It's going to happen in the market every 7 to 8 years. Sometimes it goes a little longer, sometimes it's a little shorter, but change is going to happen. There's ups and downs. It happens in all of our lives. I bet you everyone here, if they felt like telling you that their week was going anything other than fantastic, could come up with 1, 2, or 3 problems that have popped up. The genius that helped me set all this up today, he had a clogged sink this morning, right? And a baby on the way. Like, they stack. There's always change. There's always things that are going to need our attention. But how do we protect it? We protect it by sharpening our skills, by saving in the policy, by paying ourselves first, and by creating a margin, by not following the Jones, not trying to keep up with the Jones, not spending more than we're making. So far we covered the first laws of wealth. What's number 5? Anybody remember what number 5 is? Number 5, no bad debt. So we have to know the difference between good debt and bad debt, right? What is good debt? Let's define it first. Good debt is when we take on a debt and we create an asset, something that's bringing us more money than we're spending. For a lot of people, this might be rental properties. It might be a joint venture. It might be something where you've taken on debt, but now that debt is producing more money than you're spending. That's good debt, right? Just simple. You have more, you've spent this much, and you made this much. This in between makes it good debt because it's creating money for you. It's printing money for you. And now, when you take on bad debt, what happens? It goes by the simple principle that we finance everything in our life. We either pay interest or we earn it. There is no third way. So with bad debt, what happens a lot of the times is we're going to have think about this. You have an event. You haven't saved. Nobody here, but the people that are out there, right? The 95% of Americans that aren't learning this is what happens. You need $5,000 for an emergency surgery that you weren't expecting. And I saw this earlier today, and they're going to charge you 32.99%. That was the actual rate on the card. I think it was 31.99%. And it was only $40 a month. And it was for 7 years or something like that. So now this person has committed, because they didn't have an opportunity fund, they have committed money for 7 years. That's a lot of months paying money to someone else's family. That is money that is leaving their family forever, gone. Okay? And then what happens if they don't change that habit and start paying themselves first, start creating a moat around their money, start stacking it somewhere where it's tax-free, uninterrupted compound interest, and they're not sharpening their saw? Well, guess what happens? When another event comes, when another change comes, the next cost, the next emergency, now what happens? This should be all in red. There we go. Now what happens? They have to go take on another debt where the money leaves the family again. And then it happens again. And this is creating a perpetual headwind in our environment, one that most Americans are paying 35 cents of every dollar to debt. Why isn't this the first law? That's a question for you. Why isn't avoid bad debt the first law? Well, the first law starts with our behavior. It starts with our thinking. It starts with us valuing ourselves more than the other families. I'm not saying you can't love your neighbor. The Bible tells us to. What I'm saying is when we pay ourselves first, then this does not become our reality, because everyone that's lending us money, I know you guys are good looking. You gals are good looking, We're a good looking bunch of infinite banking practitioners and thinkers. And the banks, the government, they're not giving us loans because of our looks. They're giving us loans because why? Because it's really profitable. Like Nelson said, this is an exercise of logic, prophecy, right? Logic, prophecy, vision, and faith. It's not about the numbers, but it is about how do the numbers work in our life. And so now let's review the first four laws. We have pay yourself first. We're going to keep hitting them, the repetition, the reps of throwing the combinations over and over again until they just come out. You have first, you have pay yourself first, at least 10%. Depends on where you are on the scale of life. If you're in the first quarter, maybe you can pay yourself 10%. But if you're in the fourth quarter, maybe you need to pay yourself 20% because you have less time before you graduate. So that's why it's 10% or more. Depends on where you're at. What is your big vision, your focus, right? With the framework. Number two is to create a moat around your money. You have to be able to put that money to work. So make a margin account. Take it right off the top. Now you got 10% protecting that 10%. You got 20%, you're living on 80. Number three, stack the money in a system. Specifically, could be a high yield account, could be something else. You don't have to use infinite banking, but if you don't want to interrupt the compounding, I don't know of a better machine than the infinite banking concept. So stack it somewhere where it's protected, where it's growing uninterrupted compound interest, because wealth is exponential. It's not a linear growth. It's going to happen slow at first, and one day it's just going to go straight to the moon. And you'll be like, whoa, I know this wasn't an investment, but 400% return on my money, cash on cash return? Dang, I didn't expect that. And we're going long on this one today, guys. So thanks for sticking around. And if you're new here, right, make sure that you're subscribing to the channel so you're alerted to new content. Ring the bell, it might turn orange, and smash the like button because we're here having fun. It's a big infinite banking buzz. Bring your neighbors, bring your friends. There's lots of learning. And if you apply what we're learning here today, then you will make positive progress. Guarantee it. I guarantee it. Put my seal of approval on that. And so now we've done the first 5 laws. What's number 6? Track every cent. This one, I'm going to be real with you. This one to me has been one of the more challenging ones. You know, running a business, running a family, teaching my boys, working with my beautiful, incredible wife, but tracking every cent. And there's a lot of different apps that you could use. You could get Rocket Money. I know my friend Hannah uses Rocket Money. You could get Quicken, right? Or QuickBooks. And we have that for both now for our business side and our personal side. And now we're able to see little things that pop up. I mean, every cent, not just like the $10 or the $50. I'm talking like a $1.50 or a $2.50 charge or something that pops up a few times. You're like, wait, what is that? Because this is how you're going to find money that's just leaking out of your bucket. So we talk about financial leakage. And you're going to start seeing, so remember, you got the frame. Let's make it magenta. You got your frame. You've got your floor and your focus. So when you know what you're focused on, when money is coming in and leaving in a manner that is not high value, that is not aligned with where you're heading, your destination, like maybe you're saving for a big trip, maybe you're saving for a wedding, maybe you're just saving so you can have your money make enough money to cover all of your expenses, because that is freedom. Is it not? Is not winning the game? And when you have that freedom, guess what? You can do whatever you want with your time now, because now you have time freedom, you have money freedom, your money's out working for you, and you're like, what do I do now? I'm so used to working for money. But if you're not tracking every cent, if you can't get granular, then how could you ever know that, hey, this little $10 here and $10 there and $1.50 here and $3 there, it stacks up. It starts becoming hundreds of dollars. And then over a year, it's thousands of dollars. Well, guess what? That money could have been compounding for you. It could have been working for you, but it's not, because it's leaving your family because you lost your focus because you forgot your identity and you went below your standards. Are you guys seeing how all this goes forward and backwards? And if there's one of these laws that has really resonated with you today and really like, Jason, that's the one. Well, dial it in. Take the time. Turn the dial. This is your game. Only you can know. Patty and I, we stopped doing this one and number two for a little while. And this is the one, like you might say, like Shane just wrote, hey, this is not fun. Is it not fun? It's kind of cool when all of a sudden you feel pretty powerful when you know all the money that's leaving, all the money that's going. We want to celebrate something that we did as a family the other day, doing our frame, floor, and focus together. And we really set our identities. We raised our standards. We wrote it all over whiteboards downstairs. And then we celebrated. We high-fived each other. We danced a little bit, jumped up and down, and then we went out to our favorite Mexican restaurant. And I told the boys, go ahead, order your drinks you want today. No, not alcohol. This is my oldest. No, you can have, Pepsi, a lemonade. But then I showed them the bill. I'm like, look, this is another $4 right here. And so as we're dialing our focus in as a family to go on these cool trips to do things together, we're just gonna drink water when we go out. It's those little things that you can practice and have fun and make it conversational and a game for your kids. And then the seventh law of wealth, this one, I'm still struggling with this one. I'll tell you that for me, this one is one where I see it not working for people a lot, right? Because we're taught and we want to tithe. It's one of our human needs. Our human need is contribution. It is to give, and we can give our time, we can give our energy, we can give our money. And a lot of people just want to give money. It's the easiest, right? Because it's just gone. You're not going and committing to something. You're not really giving a lot of energy to it necessarily, directly, but you're helping, and you can know that you're helping, and you just feel good. It feels good to help. But what I see with law number 7 is give from abundance, not scarcity, not lack. If you're making the 100,000 and now you're giving 10%, right? You're tithing that, but you're not saving and you're not saving and you're not creating the margin. Guess what? This is actually depleting you, and you end up taking on debt because you haven't taken care of yourself first. You haven't put on the oxygen mask first. And just numerically, unless you're going to live on 70%, now you're saving 10, you're margin with 10, and you're giving 10. Why not give time? Why not give energy? Why not give your skills to something until you build up an amount where you feel comfortable and it's fun to give? And now you're giving at a bigger scale because you're more abundant, because your life has shifted. That makes sense? Now that your life has shifted in that direction. So going through all the laws again, let's see, I bring the presentation back. Right, so now we went through that we are paying ourselves first. That's the foundation. And as we work up the pyramid, we pay ourselves first. We're creating a margin. We're always looking to put our money where it's uninterrupted and compounding. We're growing. We're only taking on good debt. We're tracking every cent, and now we're giving. That's the top of the pyramid. That means we've made it. That means we've done the things. We've done the things that truly can make an impact and help us reach our human need of contribution. And you'll feel so much better when you're giving from a power or a place of power than you will from a place of scarcity. It's just a different game altogether. And so as we're wrapping up, today we unpacked the 7 laws of wealth. We went from paying yourself first to giving first from that powerful place by following the 7 laws. We looked at how to build a practical, values-driven money system and how infinite banking can serve as the engine for every one of these principles. And remember, Wealth doesn't happen by accident. It's earned, it's built, it's practiced, and most importantly, it's chosen. To be wealthy, you must want to be wealthy. Think about that. To be wealthy, you must want to be wealthy. When we chose to follow these laws with intention, everything has shifted. And you guys can have that too. Anyone listening, this wasn't just about information, it's about transformation. Because once you live these laws, your relationship with money changes forever. We gave you the laws, we gave you a framework. Well, Dr. Benjamin Hardy, thank you for your scaling framework. It's brilliant. And we gave you the infinite banking strategy to make it actionable. And so now you've got the clarity, now you got the tools, you know what to do. So, what is the next thing, the next law that you will apply? What is your commitment to yourself? Which law will you commit to today? What shift are you going to make in your frame, your float, your frame, your floor, or your focus? Drop in the content or in the comments, share it below. Let your inner circle know what's on your mind, because wealth isn't personal, it's generational. It's something that we can build together. And if you're new here, I want to ask at the beginning, if you haven't yet set up your infinite banking policy, you had your strategy conversation with me, scan the QR code. I know Patty's dropped the code or the way to book a call with me directly a couple times today. So scan that code. It's easy. Have a conversation, come prepared, know what's coming in, know what's going out. These are the things I'm going to ask you. How much are you paying yourself? How much of a margin? Where are you saving your money? Let's build you a system that you control, that builds you guarantees and keep you recession proof. And most importantly, going towards that big, amazing focus that's personal to you. Not what everyone else wants, but what you want. So as always, super blessed to be here. Super blessed that you give me your most valuable asset, your energy, your time, your focus. You guys are amazing. Keep inviting people to this infinite banking bus. It's a big bleep bus. It's got lots of room for every single one of us. So let's have a good time on this journey. Let's play the game of money to reach our goals, to have fun, and to know we're going to mess up sometimes. So if you're off track, cool. Use this video, book a call with me, have a conversation. Let's get you back on track. Have a blessed rest of your day. Until next time, I'll see you in this next video here.